Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
It's Damian, the star of the show. One of the other four stars on the show. Welcome everybody to the NVIDIA Omniverse live stream. This is a very special one, not only because we have Damian and Maddie and Jennifer here at the same time, but we're also celebrating a great announcement yesterday regarding the Alliance for OpenUSD. And AOUSD as it's called, which NVIDIA is a part of with several great partners. We're going to post some links all about that announcement in a few minutes. But today is your opportunity as a viewer and a fellow participant of this live stream to ask any of your developer-focused questions on developing an app on OpenUSD with the NVIDIA Omniverse platform. We're going to probably be live for as many questions as people have, but this is geared to be more like a fireside chat to kind of get developers more familiar with developing on OpenUSD with Omniverse, as well as some experienced folks who have some deeper questions. You have the dream team here to help with that. And let's start off actually by welcoming Damian. Damian, welcome once again.
Hi everybody. As always, super excited to be here. Thank you again, Edmar and team, to invite me. It's always a great pleasure to join in with you.
It's always a pleasure, Damian. I've said this before. You are one of the fan favorites of the Omniverse community. People are always asking where Damian is coming on next.
You guys should know Edmar is building up that reputation for me. He's very kind. Anyway, any fans out there? I love you guys.
Oh, and let me see. I'm gonna switch screens here. So we have another really cool person to talk about. We bring him up on the screen here. Here he is. I think we all know who this person is with a
special guest. Yeah, now he's stealing the show.
So only temporarily. He's only here for a couple minutes, but we did want to talk about next week, which is of course Seagraph 2023. A bunch of people from NVIDIA will be there, including myself, Maddie, Jen, Damian. Are you going to be at Seagraph? You'll be there. Awesome. So there's going to be a lot of stuff happening at Seagraph, and most importantly, perhaps, is this an innovative keynote telling about all the technology and work that NVIDIA has been doing. It's going to be some great announcements. Many people on the team have been working towards the content you're going to see in this keynote. You do not have to be in Los Angeles or at Seagraph to be able to experience this live. You could just watch it live online. So we have a great collection of links to make sure you see all the activity from NVIDIA at Seagraph. It's posted in the chat right now. So be sure to definitely check out the keynote, put it on your calendar. If you are going to be at Seagraph, we would absolutely love to meet with you. And there's definitely a few opportunities to do that. We have an OpenUSD happening, OpenUSD Day happening on Wednesday with an office hours at the end of the day. You can hang out with us for coffee and donuts before the keynote. If you're an early riser and want to meet us at 7 a.m. before the keynote at 8, we would love to hang out with you. And then we have a separate calendar where you just book a meeting, whatever time's convenient for you. So we'll post that link in the chat also. But it should be a super exciting week. This is just a preview of some of the things happening. I know it's very hard to read here, but there's a lot of stuff happening. We'll post the link in the chat so you can see the forum post where we have all this stuff broken down. But a lot of activities happening across the board at Seagraph. We would love to meet you. We're going to be celebrating OpenUSD. Actually, so Jen, Maddie, and Damian are all involved in USD workshops, which are going to be happening. And Jen and Maddie, why don't you tell me a little bit about what people can expect at these workshops?
USD. that I feel like that kind of is the big picture of it, right? So it's kind of like getting people more aware about USD, how to use USD, especially in Omniverse, since Omniverse is just built all around USD. And, if you're not too familiar with how to, use USD, or you're just fairly new to it and you want to learn a little bit more, highly recommend going to some of these workshops. They're going to be really amazing stuff. And you get to meet all of us. We're going to all be in person. So, if there's questions that you have about it, Maddie, 100% expert in it. He's there. He can answer your questions. I can attempt to answer your questions. But, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. There's going to be some pretty cool things that you get to do.
Yeah, that's great. And one thing I learned just yesterday, I didn't realize this earlier, is that all these sessions that NVIDIA is going to be presenting at Seagraph will be video recorded and shared afterwards with the community, which is amazing. So don't feel like you're missing out too much by not being able to attend Seagraph, because we'll put as much content as we can out for everybody afterwards. During the event, you can keep up with things on the Omniverse Discord server, which is discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. Wendy here will be hosting a watch party for the keynote with Jensen. So I think that'll be broadcast through the Discord probably, or are you doing that?
Yes, I'm doing it through the Discord. So if you're not a member yet, it's really easy. Discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. Just look for me on the channels. I can send a link out to anyone who's interested. But yeah, I'll be on there and we'll watch it live together,
Awesome.
and have a mini party.
And we also have a channel specifically for Seagraph that's on the Discord right now. So if you have any questions about Seagraph, or you need a link, or you're looking for some resources, we have everything posted on that channel. And still feel free to use that during next week. If you're there and you're trying to meet up with somebody, you can feel free to use that channel to connect with us there. It should be a lot of fun. Speaking of OpenUSD, this gentleman on the screen has a fantastic video series on OpenUSD. This series is evolving with new videos pretty regularly. So it's a YouTube playlist, so available to everyone out there. It's free, available on YouTube. We'll post a link in the chat, but it's a great opportunity to learn all about OpenUSD from a really talented developer here, and a founding developer of Pixar USD, as you can see on the screen. So I think everyone can learn a lot. We also have that free DLI course on USD, so we'll post a link for that in the chat as well. But both those are great resources, and there's going to be lots more coming as a result of all the excitement and celebration of all these different companies working together. It's a very exciting time for developers. So be sure to watch that. As we just mentioned, these are some of the people involved, the companies involved with the Alliance for OpenUSD. Really, really exciting. So really honored to be part of this fantastic group of companies. So I think everyone can expect a lot more to be coming in the coming months. So we have more posted on this on our forums, as well as our current community challenge. And we're seeing some really cool stuff already on social. So if you would like to share your start to finish image, use the hashtag start to finish and tag NVIDIA Omniverse at NVIDIA Studio. And we will celebrate by sharing and boosting it as much as we can among our audience. But I think this example on the screen is a great one to look at, because we had him on just a couple weeks ago, breaking down some of his workflow. But look at all those different apps that were used in this one. This is by Jay Dizzle, who actually works with materials over at Nike. So very cool, honored to have him part of the community and participate in this challenge. And we'd love to see your start to finish as well. And I think we have one more slide here on the Marvelous Designer Omniverse connector. For those of you who love working with fabrics and environments that have any kind of fabric in them, whether it's clothing or couches or curtains, any kind of interior design stuff, you should really check out Marvelous Designer. This connector makes it really easy to work with and leverage their great, powerful system for realistic simulation of fabrics. We had a great live stream with the Marvelous Designer team not too long ago, so we'll post that link in the chat if you want to see what the workflow looks like. But highly recommend you check that out if you're interested in fabrics. And I will stop sharing my screen so we could get back to furthering the conversation about OpenUSD. So, like I said earlier, we want this to be as community focused question answer as possible. So feel free to post your questions in the chat while you have these lovely, talented people here with us today. Let's start with this. So Damian, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do at NVIDIA, what you're focused on right now, and so people get a little, and your background, of course, because I think you have some nice history here you could share with everybody for people who don't know you from previous streams.
Cool. I'll be happy to. Yeah. So hi everybody. So I'm Damian. Actually, in a couple of weeks, or like 3-4 weeks, will be my 4-year anniversary at NVIDIA. So for NVIDIA, I'm a rookie, but it feels like a great period. I've been there always on Omniverse, and I joined for Omniverse. Actually, I met Rev Leberian, our VP of Omniverse, and he told me about his great project he was working on, and I was instantly drawn. I'm like, this is what I want to work on. I was in media and entertainment before. We're doing movie for films. Last few movies you might have seen, like Lion King, Jungle Book. We had a studio there in the UK and across the world. But really the drone was building Omniverse and building a developer platform. And so I think that's really what been the focus for me and the team that I work with for the last 4 years is working for you. Right? We're thinking about what do you need to build apps. What's the structure? How do we enable these great ideas, start to finish? You've got an ideas, and then you want to build an app as a developer. And so our teams broadly look after Kit SDK. So we really focus on enabling people to build apps and develop these small building blocks, so you can pick them up and then assemble them in new and interesting ways for your work. So that's really our teams, and I work with everybody here in the team to communicate the work that we're doing and sort of share it with you in ways that's really good to absorb. And it's been always really a pleasure to be on these live streams, because you guys share your ideas and your project. You ask your great questions, drive the product. So always a pleasure to be here.
So thank you so much, Damian. And I think everybody's very familiar with Jen and Maddie, but for any new viewers who may not be, Maddie, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Jen, of course.
Yeah. So my name is Matthias Kodestal. I go by Maddie. I'm on the community team with Wendy and Edmar, and mostly I get to work with all of you throughout the day, talking about Omniverse and Kit, my favorite subjects, and helping you all achieve your goals. So I came to NVIDIA also from media and entertainment. I worked on animation, and that's where I got my start with USD. And then I started exploring Omniverse. I was like, what is this? This is all built on USD? Okay. And fell in love with it. And I think we can all say that we're really excited about the platform, and have a lot of things that we can say about it that I think we'll share here.
That's awesome. And you've also worked on some movies people might recognize, be familiar with, right?
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Boss Baby. So
some classics. That's pretty awesome. So Maddie is so helpful in the communities on our Discord a lot. So anyone who has a developer question, you'll often see Maddie respond. Maddie, you also do this great series on our Discord, this kind of working sessions with one of our community members, don't you?
Yeah. So Nandu from our community came up with this great idea of getting together and learning USD. It is a big topic. There are a lot of concepts to cover. So he wanted to have a place where people can come together and talk about these things and learn from each other. And also, USD has this foundation in media and entertainment, but we're kind of learning along the ways and coming up with best practices for how to work in an industrial setting or in different domains. So he really wanted to be able to talk with other people about how they're using it, and start forming these best practices together.
That's awesome. And so how this works, actually, on the Omniverse Discord server, anyone can join our Discord server. It's very open. And then there's a section there, because Discord is broken into different channels, and there's categories of channels. There's a category specifically for developers. Under that category is what Matt is referring to, which is the USD study group. You can go right into that channel, and you'll see all the action there from that study group. And what they usually do is post an event on our Discord, letting you know when the next live study group is happening. So just keep your eyes on that channel and also the event in the top left, and you'll be able to participate. So how often do you guys meet now?
Every Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, cool. So that's great. So that's a great resource for OpenUSD to be able to talk and collaborate and exchange ideas and information. So I highly recommend that. Okay. Now, Miss Jennifer, tell us a little bit, because you are actually on another stream pretty regularly as well. But why don't you tell everybody about your background and what you do here at NVIDIA?
Oh man, I don't know if I can do that. Why? I'm not as fancy as the rest of everybody else here. Are
you kidding? Of course you are.
Yeah, I work in the Omniverse Exchange department, so I do a lot of things with developers and even larger companies, whether it's making samples for them or even samples for our community, or just just helping out other teams where necessary if they need like documentation, or if they're like, hey, can you turn our code into a small snippet, or can you help us with some UI development? So I'm kind of like a little bit all over the place, but I do like to help people, whether or not it's internally, outside, small development teams, and it's just really fun. It's actually been 1 year since I've been at NVIDIA, so that's pretty exciting.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Because again, this was like, I thought this would be the impossible, but here I am standing in a live stream repping a awesome company. So it's very exciting. I did come from I did a lot of teaching for like summer camps and stuff, not necessarily like public schools, but a lot in the tech industry. So I was going from coding in Python, and then the next hour I code in C++, and the next hour I code in Java, and the next hour would be JavaScript. And then I started doing a lot of like XR development stuff with a really awesome small company that did it a lot in medical devices and stuff. So from there, getting into Omniverse was really exciting. I think I always recommend to people, the first video that I've ever watched in developing with Omniverse is probably Damian's video with extension building. And that was the first thing that helped me get started. And then the second video I saw was his demo of the inspector window, which is kind of similar to, like, if you're a web developer, it's similar to doing an inspector that way, seeing all the web pages and what's all the elements and the styling and stuff. And those really helped me get like sucked into Omniverse and be like, this is amazing. Like, I have never had so much fun developing tools, and I'm constantly learning every day from it. But that's me and really cool things. But if you haven't, every Thursday, I'm usually on with Eric Bowman. He does engineering and design in Omniverse, or EDIO for shorthand. And he's been doing a lot with like the Jet Racer. And it's actually really cool because he's trying to build this really awesome digital twin using the Jet Racer's team's public GitHub notebook and putting it into Omniverse at the same time while building his car. So if you're not there, highly recommend it. Every Thursday, except not the Thursday of Seagraph, because we're going to be at Seagraph. So you don't get to see it then. But every other Thursday, highly, highly recommend it. It's an amazing workflow. And it's super exciting.
I agree. Very cool. And as everyone can tell, Jen is very modest. She's done some amazing things. And she came from Alaris Systems before NVIDIA. And Alaris is also kicking butt in the OpenUSD area. We've had a nice meet the Omniverse blog on Ben's work there, and also had him on a live stream. So really, really cool. So let's now that you know a little bit more of the people who are really helping the developers in the community and leading the team here with Damian. Let's talk about basics a little bit and take a step back. And let us define what OpenUSD is and why it came to be. And then put things in perspective, why people are so excited about the Alliance and all the great companies that are jumping on board about it. So how would you define OpenUSD, Damian?
So you've got to go back to why it was created, right? And I think that's where the sort of inceptions in media and entertainment, but what it represented when it started. I think 2012. I've heard from some of our earlier video. It was created at Pixar, right? It's Pixar, and actually OpenUSD, or USD at the time, Universal Scene Descriptions, is not their first version, right? So although that one particular inception of that concept was from 2012, they had been working on several versions of that format collaboration kind of platform for many years, right? Since the first teeny toy kind of story. They had another system called Memba before. And so the premise is, when you work in media and entertainment, large team, right? Pixar's got thousands of people just in Emeryville studio. Everybody is working on the one film, and they're all contributing to this project. But they're all working in different tools. They all have different process. Some people paint, some people light, some people model, some people animate. And then you've got this friction when they're all trying to work together, because they've got to exchange this idea, this process. And in traditional mechanism, everyone's worked with different file formats. And so you have to convert, you have to import, you have to re-export. I mean, you've all done that, right? If you've created content or tried to collaborate with people. And then on the opposite side, you've got things where, for example, in people like Google Docs or these spreadsheets, because it's nice. You go to that one place and everyone can just speak the same language. Doesn't mean that it has to be live, but it's the same way, right? You go, you drop your image, someone makes some notes, someone review the flow, adds the videos, and it's the one place that you work with at different times, and you have this place to review the work. So USD at the inceptions was really that latest generation of that for Pixar, which is a format where all of the discipline, everybody working together, could bring in their data in a form that everybody else could see, right? And then they would have this place where that's kind of like the collaboration space where these great ideas happens. And so they worked on it, for many years, and eventually in I think 2016, they felt that for it to grow outside of their studio, and they felt they had the that desire to contribute to the wider world, they made it open source, right? And at that time, many of the studio, like Maddie and myself and others, were really having similar challenges than Pixar. We started working very closely with Pixar and adopting it into this studio. So in M&E, that transitions happened for a long time, where it did solve that key problems of data interchange and collaborations between the tools. And then if you look back at when Omniverse started, right, it's actually many moons ago, probably with different names, even before it was called Omniverse. That's what the team that really started it, right, Revs and others there, they saw in that format. They saw, we're also trying to solve the collaboration problems, right? You had seen a video of Holodeck and the space where you wanted to bring people together to work into a nice unified way to remove the friction and increase the creativity. And then so they saw it as, that's a great format, right? It really kind of click a lot of these boxes. USD is not just a file format. It is really also sort of a workflow, a collaboration mechanism, right? There's a lot of concept in there that are not about how files are written on disks, but it's about how you work together in harmony without really approaching each other, right? They have concept like something that's always found is good is they call it an opinion. So effectively, something that you set on a value in your stage is called an opinion, right? It's your opinion, but it is not necessarily sort of better or worse than the other ones. It is one that get added, and then they have this idea of layers, like in Photoshop, right? This non-destructive workflow, because different people at different stage have different opinions, and then they get layered on top of each other into what's the final outcome. And so all of these ideas, they also had very strong notions of referencing and payloads, right? Bringing work from other places in a form that is live rather than frozen, right? So these documents become a bit more like a Google Doc. In Google Doc or PowerPoint, whichever one is your flavor of choice, you can import other, you link against other documents. They become live like a website, right? It's an HTML link to something else. These other things also is live and growing and evolving, but it's constantly pulled into this joint view of the world, right? So USD was really key to define that and bring it to the industry in an open way, like it was an open standard, right? From the beginning, open source from Pixar, and NVIDIA was very much, early onset adopters, and ever since, NVIDIA has been investing and pushing USD to grow and pouring resources into this ecosystem, all the way to what happened on the 1st of August, which was many other brands, right? And it's not new, actually. Apple had made it not a secret that they were interested in USD many years ago when they started their path to what we know now is the Vision Pro. They did the Reality Kit. They was built on USD. They had announced this USD-Z format. USD-Z is really a single file USD package, right? It's kind of compressed in some ways, but it's mostly a package file that include the USD file in its texture. And they had adopted that. They contributed that format to the ecosystem, and they made USD something that is in all iPhones. Like all iPhone, all iPad, all Mac have USD in it, and they're able to quick look any USD asset. And again, that was a long time plan from them, and that's why they are a key member of the Alliance, alongside other really key creative company like Autodesk, Adobe, joining NVIDIA to be part of that, and of course the founding father Pixar is there too, and so. These sort of continuations of growth of that platform, and then the fact that now everybody is seeing it as this great way to collaborate, not just between one studio, but many companies and many industries and many people around the world, make it this really attractive HTML of these 3D webs, or the kind of 3Dification of the internet. So I think that's why it's everybody is really so excited about USD in general, and it's a great place for any Omniverse developer enthusiast, because Omniverse from the beginning was built as USD as the format and the methodology and the mentality of the structure, and so it's the premier native USD development platform. And so everybody interested in USD, or everybody interested in Omniverse, they're sort of like siblings of enabling people to collaborate and make great things.
First of all, I'm submitting everything you just said to Wikipedia, because I think you covered everything so perfectly, as usual. Great explanation and overview and the history of OpenUSD, and I think a couple of things like really excite me about this. Number one, like my background is in game development, and it's always been a challenge when you have great apps that some people just gravitate towards for their workflow. And it's been a challenge when you're working on a big project, when everyone has their preference of different apps. And there's a lot of cost there when people need to move from app to app for different teams, right? And so this really solves a big part of that. So I think we're going to see huge benefits of this multi-app collaboration. It's a great recognition that there's so many great companies making great products that really serve specific things fantastically, that typically we're a little siloed, and now this is, I think, gonna really encourage people to just like work together in ways that we haven't seen before, people and companies. So that I think it's really exciting. The other thing which you mentioned, which to me is very exciting, also from the game dev background, is the collaboration part of it, not just in the tools but also in the people. Right. So and we've shown this on our live stream before, and every time it just blows me away how you can actually work live with multiple people at the same time in the same scene, thanks to USD. That just blows my mind away, because that's something that also was not possible. And like your example of Google Docs, to see it is to believe it when you're actually seeing people moving stuff in the same scene, and just the benefits of that is just amazing. So super exciting. So I think that's a really great background on where USD is today. But there's actually some really cool stuff happening on the Omniverse side, like very soon, for developers out there. And so do you want to talk about like what Kit is today and kind of what's happening with Kit
Yeah, we had some discussion pre-show chat today. We planned these live streams quite a while in advance. Edmar's got a fully booked schedule, so if you need a spot, you've got to rally around a couple of weeks, months in advance. And so we said, just before Seagraph, we'll be able to talk to a bunch of things that are just being announced. but Jensen's a couple of things he want to keep for himself. Can't really blame him for it. So there are a couple of things that you'll have to wait Tuesday to hear first time. So consider it as part one. We'll tease a couple of things that definitely are public and we want to share. There is a lot more that is sort of really on the cusp of being announced that we will share in a follow-up streams. There's one thing about building on Omniverse and USD where we talked about this platform being sort of twin sisters or brothers, because they're kind of sharing so much of this history and this goal together. The Omniverse stack, the entire data system, right? Everything that you store, your file that you load, that you manipulate, it's all USD. Right? It's not really we import them and then we manipulate them and then we save them. It's USD native. It's USD everywhere. You can talk directly to USD. You can talk to our API. At the end, you're just changing USD file. They're also standard USD, OpenUSD, right? You load something in Omniverse, you get it from anywhere as the connectors, you save it. It's a USD file. You can, USDA, you can go into the USD view, you can load it into some other apps. They are normal USD files. And so that's one aspect, right? You have this native USD platform that you can really kind of learn about the format in its way it's been intended to be built. And then Omniverse is that Lego block, it's a developer platform rather than an app. And I think in that space, you have other places which are, a platform to make games or platform to, make content. But there's a few platform to make apps, right? There's, you could think about Qt to be something like that. But the power of Omniverse is USD. So, that's really that native things is at the core there. And it also comes with a lot of 3D history, right? We build a lot of 3D functionality in the platform itself. Composer is built out of Kit. Presenter is out of Kit. Drive Sim is out of Kit. Isaac Sim is out of Kit. All of these applications, they contribute their innovations in terms of 3D libraries inside the platform. And then we distribute it as part of the developer ecosystem. And we've shown in the past, and Jen and Maddie have great tutorial on building apps. It doesn't take a team of 20 people to build a big 3D apps. It doesn't take a C++ knowledge and JavaScripts and compiler and flags and GPU. You just need Python knowledge, a bit of perseverance, follow some instructions and some good ideas. And then you can build an app in Omniverse that is not just a little app, right? It is a simulation piece. It is something that works with USD natively. Maybe you have live collaboration, so your app that you build yourself is enabling 2 users across the world to work in the same thing at the same time, right? And you can build all of that with the tools that we provide in a relatively easy way. There's still, we're working with the community, we're improving documentations, we're helping people learn USD, but we think that's a key factor is it's easy to build advanced, collaborative, USD native apps with our platform. And we make it really easily available, right? You have Omniverse for individual. You just download it and use it. There's no fee. You don't have to have a subscription or something. It's very easy. And again, there's plenty of other things that we want to share with you that are coming that will make it even more enticing. But yeah, so that's really the premise.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Maddie.
One thing that Damian said that came to my mind when we were getting ready for this live stream is I've worked in 3D for a number of years now, and if you asked me to build a 3D app, I would be really hesitant, and even more so if you asked me to do it by myself. But with Kit, I have a path forward, and a lot of the things that are difficult and that I would be like, oh, so I have to do the render and I have to do a bunch of stuff is already taken care of, so I can focus on the business logic, which is what actually provides the value to the company that I might be working for or the end users that I want to sell an app to. So yeah, I think that's what attracted me to Kit and Omniverse in the first place.
And also a good point is on the business side of stuff, there is no fee due to NVIDIA when you're selling stuff that you create. You could you could sell it whatever you like. We're not involved in that at all. So I think, a lot of people ask, how much, what's the cut that revenue share or anything? There's nothing like that. And as Damian mentioned earlier, Omniverse and Omniverse is free, and just enterprise licensing for support and other kind of added features that some larger businesses might need. But in terms of making content and selling stuff, you could not only could you start from scratch, you could actually take some of our foundational apps like USD Composer, and you could modify that to your heart's content as little or as much as you like, and brand it your own thing. We've mentioned this on the stream before, and I think that's amazing. I've never heard other companies do that before, and I think that's great. And because we know that for all the different developers and creators out there are so many different workflows based on the work you need to do. So there are great opportunities there to create content that really suits your workflow. So anyway, if we have a good question from Data Juggler. Are there any plans for terrain generators in Omniverse? That's a good question. Do we have an answer for that one?
Yeah. There's a lot of work internally on general terrain modeling algorithms, and I don't know exactly the timeline as to when some of these will become public. But we in the work with DriveSim and building digital twin of Earth terrains like Earth 2 and even DriveSim maps. We have a lot of works on that platform. I believe, Maddie, I think we have public video of Flora, right? I think we are sharing some.
I'm not sure if we have her.
We'll do some follow-ups, but there's definitely some work coming into that space using effectively compositions of elevation maps in GPU using something called VXL, and then they will come as an OmniGraph nodes, and then they will output terrain that you can use. And again, I think so. Yes, but or and. As we always say, you have to do a yes and. There's amazing terrain generator in other apps. Houdini, amazing. Unreal, amazing. Those are connected to USD and Omniverse. And so another great way to get terrain into an Omniverse project or an USD project is to find what is the terrain generator that provide the functionality and the workflow and the environment that you like, and then just use that, right? And then by the virtue of USD that we say, that's really trying to break the barrier between do I have to choose that app or that app, right? That's the old adage, right? It's like, when I work in that app and then I have to go work on that app, then it's just so difficult to give the data flowing. As everybody in the ecosystem is adopting USD in and out, then now you can use the apps for what they're really good at, and then you don't have to worry about the silos. So you could also, use the really great terrain generator today that there is in these apps. Unreal's got some really fantastic work there. Houdini is doing some really great work. You can use PDG, which is their procedural network, to do great terrain modeling. That's something that's very much used in games. And then you could just export to USD and then just bring it to another project where you do something else, maybe simulation in OV, and then, So.
Yeah, and I think, we are talking about apps, but we also have to think about as developers on the Omniverse platform, you have to think about pipelines. It's not just about a single app. You might build multiple Omniverse Kit apps to fulfill a workflow, and also include other apps using connectors. So we have to start thinking about, I'm not limited to just what I can build or what's on this platform. I can reach out and see what's out there, what's the best, what will provide the most value for my end users.
That's a great point. I also want to mention that we do have a pretty fantastic list of videos categorized by topic and by partner. I just pasted that link in the chat. So there are what we call playlists that exist either on NVIDIA On Demand or on YouTube. So highly recommend, for example, if you're interested in developing apps, we have a playlist for that. Digital twins, we have another playlist for that. Unreal Engine, we have a playlist for that. So I highly recommend those tutorials are really fantastic and available for free for everybody. We have a good question. Oh, from Ben. Ben is here from Jen's previous company, Alara Systems, who I mentioned earlier, is it generally good practice to be using the latest NVIDIA Studio drivers with Composer? That's a great question. Or is it best to use a certain older version? My humble opinion is that always stay the latest, but any official?
They move very fast, and Omniverse generally is qualified against the version that it was released for, right? And so I think that's there's a lot of improvement in driver version. The one that is been tested and qualified is the one that's generally in that list inside the documentation that says because at the time where a certain version come out, there were certain version and they got qualified. So that's probably the safest way. In general, what happened now is Omniverse is in the qualifications process of newer driver, and so most likely than not, newer driver will work very well with older version of Omniverse, because that's one of their check mark to be a great driver, is to work well with Omniverse.
And if you're out there and developing and you're having a problem, that's where we want you to go to the official Omniverse forums. We'll post a link in a second. That's where we can track your feedback and your bugs or issues you're encountering. It's connected right to our development team, actually. So that's why we always want people to use the forums. And if you want to chat with other users, so if you notice a problem with the driver, let us know. You can message me directly, obviously, but you can also post it on the forums in the right category. And the other thing you can do is you leverage the Omniverse Discord server if you want to chat with other users in the community. And our developers do hang out there when they can, but do not rely on that as an official source of support, because we have no way to track anything in there. So we want you to use the forums for official stuff, critical stuff, but to engage with other users and some NVIDIA developers who are helping out. You can post on the Discord server. We have a bunch of channels there, so it really depends, including, like I mentioned earlier, developer category has a bunch of different sections. But speaking about development, so we talked about Python. Maddie, do you want to tell us a little bit about, like, what are some of the skills required to start building apps? How could people get started, kind of ramping up to Python if it's something that's new to them? What's the kind of qualification or difficulty level with Python, you would say?
So there's a lot of options. There's increasingly more no-code options. Omniverse has the Action Graph and OmniGraph framework that you can use nodes to write logic and execution flows to control things in your app. With Kit 105, there's the whole, I think we can talk about this, the no-code UI. Yeah. Where you can actually build user interfaces with USD data structures, and then plug that into Action Graph to actually control it, and so completely no code. But if you do want to write code, which is good, Python, Omniverse is Python first, which I love. It's really flexible. It's quick to get up and running, and then the smart thing about Omniverse is that if Python is great. It does have some limitations in terms of speed or memory management, and so when you need to, you can write parts in C++ and call those from your Python code to get that acceleration.
But you could certainly do, but in most cases, if you really need speed, you want to go to the GPU. And so you're like, okay, well, C++ is hard, but GPU code is harder, you might think. But actually, in OV, there's this great open source project that was developed by an NVIDIA team called Warp, which is a first-class citizen in OV, but it's also an open source project that you could use in any other project. It's a beautiful abstraction around CUDA, acceleration principle using the Python syntax. Right, so you just write something that looks like Python code. It's exactly the Python syntax. You integrate directly into your Python code. You write what they call this kernel, effectively your little function that will move the point around or do some simulations of some kinds. You just nicely wrap them up with a little decorator, it's called in Python, that sort of helps you annotate a function to do something a little bit special. And then the Warp compiler will actually sort of read that and transform it into very optimized CUDA code that will run on the GPU at super accelerated forms. And then the beautiful things about the integrations of Warp inside OVE is that it's kind of used some of the premise for GPU interrupts between the GPU and USD. So it's very easy to attach the vertices of a mesh into a Warp kernel or a texture of an Omni UI element to a Warp kernel. And so I would say that in the order of kind of complexity and choices that you would want is start with Python. More than half, if 70% of Omniverse Composer, USD Composer, is created in Python. Most of our developers, they're spending their day in Python. It is very flexible. The entire USD API is in Python, and it's very easy to use. And there's plenty of improvement coming to how you interact with that, and you learn it and everything. And the other things is Omniverse makes it so easy to write Python because we can hot reload it. I think that's we've all been trying to do it in the past lives. Before I was here, I definitely tried a few times. Python's a dynamic language, so technically it is possible to unload some Python module and then reload it without having to restart your applications. In practice, it is very, very difficult because there's a lot of subtleties about the ordering of things that need to happen. But Omniverse, I made it a superpower that all of the extensions, are auto reloadable. There's a couple of simple rules that you need to follow in your extension structure, but it means that you're in this sort of almost scripted environments where just saving your file is reloading automatically. There's no compilation, there's no waiting, there's no restart. You don't lose the state of your application because only the part that really require reloading reloads. And so sometimes I'm amazed. Omniverse, coding Omniverse is fun. I do that on weekends because that's my hobby. During the week I work for you guys, but during the weekend I have fun, and so I write some extensions. And I'm always amazed, right? You're just typing, and only these small little things reload, and you see the UI reappearing. It's a very joyful experience to work in Python, and it's very hard to go back once you've experienced that because everything else feels so slow. But the second step, if you want to go fast and you need this extra performance, learn Warp. Warp is really just simple math and then simple operations, very easy to, and it also benefits from auto reload. So now you can write this CUDA kernel that normally takes C and compilers and reloading. They also automatically reload, recompile, regit, resend to the GPU. Incredibly fast and fun experience to work with those. And then, of course, after, if you have some C++ library and you do things, we do enable that. And of course, we also do have that inside OV. But you'll be amazed how much you could build before you go into C++, and maybe you either never have to go there.
Awesome. All right, that's really helpful, and we have some great questions and conversations happening in the chat. So let's go through some of these open questions. So first, we got this one. I'll put on the screen. Do we know this? Will OpenUSD support USDZ?
Yeah. So USDZ actually, was in the format for USD, right? OpenUSD is a rebranding of USD just because USD was really hard to find on the internet. So in following the theme, because of the US dollars, because of the themes of all of the open technology, open VDB, open animations, open other things, it's been rebranded. USDZ was contributed by Apple at the very early days. So USDZ is an official format of USD for many years. And so it is fully supported. They're like USD archives. They're not compressed. Right? One might think they're compressed. They're actually just they're in the zip enclosure, but they're not compressed. And so you can easily inspect them and look into them. And yeah,
that's great. Here another one from Will Song. Can you please talk about the progress on running a connector like Revit connector as a service? I heard it's on your roadmap. Did he hear correctly?
So let's see how we answer that. So everything in Kit can be run as a service. Kit extensions are small little modules. You assemble them like you like, and then services. There is actually a great framework. There is great presentation from Joseph, our lead for the services, about them. Kit services are lightweight sort of abstraction to make it very easy to build an API, a web API, a service using Kit as the kernel, as the running environment. And then technically you can take that and then put any of the extension that you like. It could be Revit, it could be USD, it could be a kind of a file converter or some funny terrain tool that you've built, and build it behind a service, and then deploy it into a web environment, or eventually something like OVC. So absolutely, that's possible. I don't know that it's a product that will come from us. That's that part I wouldn't be able to say.
All right, that's helpful. Okay, and Ben, you never have to apologize, Ben, for being off topic. So thanks for this great question. Is there a way to somehow add SSS to OmniPBR converted shader, something that came from Substance via the connector?
I don't know. Do you know, Maddie? If you can't really add it to OmniPBR, because OmniPBR is a Uber shader, so it's kind of locked into things. But you have access to shader graph, right? So you can build a shader graph in MDL. We also increasingly bring support of Material X authoring. We already had Material X consumptions, but you'll see a lot of announcements around Material X, which is also like OpenUSD becoming a standard for material definitions inside the USD ecosystem. So I suspect you could kind of rebuild your own using those.
Great question.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Maddie.
And for subsurface scattering, the OmniSurface is the one that provides that. And then Ben had a question earlier about SBSAR. You can work with those directly in Omniverse. There's a file format plugin that will load them and convert those in on the fly into I think it's MDL in the end.
That's great. We'll post a link to Ben's Meet the Omnivore blog, because I think it's really informative, and the workflow of multi-apps that he's been working with in the Omniverse, really, really inspiring. So I'm so happy you're with us here today, Ben. Okay, we've got, so this is kind of like potential, like we have to talk offline about this, but to see if it's a issue we can help with. But Jen, maybe this is quite a good question for you. If someone creates an extension, how do updates get picked up? Because Data Juggler's saying that sometimes his updates aren't showing. Do you know anything that we can help?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So it does get picked up automatically. So it might take about a day or two for it to show up in the third party tab of the extension. Now, in terms of like, oh, I made some updates, but I don't see it on there, there could be a couple of things. So one of them is definitely make sure that you've put out a new release tag. If you have not put out a new release for it, it's going to only pick up that one release you have. Another thing is that make sure you check your extension TOML file, and that you've also updated the version number for that as well. If it hasn't been updated, it might also not pick it up. Now, if you're not sure where your extension TOML file is, in your extension, within VS Code, there would be a config folder, and that's where you can find your extension TOML file, and they'll have like a versioning up at the top, and the versioning might be like 1.0.0, and you would want to upgrade that to, if it's 1.1 or 1.01, however you're updating your extension. But those are the two places you probably want to change it. If you're still unsure and you're like, I'm not sure why, you can always come to us on Discord and we can answer those questions too, or you can post on the forums. Either way, we'll get somebody to come and help you. And
yes, we'll definitely help.
Those are good questions. We're working on these templates. The team relentlessly work on improving the templates and then the documentations and the workflow. I think those are good feedback. We'll look into having some sort of validator or something, right? So you, in a template, you could run saying, is my project kind of like in the right state? And because internally we have some validations. I think they're turned off on some of the ingest pipeline. Just because you don't get notified the same way, but internally we have notifications if you haven't changed the change log, if your extension you're trying to publish is already published, if it hasn't got an icon, if you do extension, make nice icon, do a little preview images, these type of things. In the internal pipeline, we have those. We might make some ways so people have access to it, so they can validate their release. That's good feedback. Thank you.
Well, here's another good question from our community favorite, one of my favorites, Zia Ideas, one of our very loyal live stream viewers. Zia, thank you, and I hope we get to meet next week. We chatted earlier today, so he might be in LA for Seagraph. So I will bring some maple syrup from Vermont just for you. And I owe Jen coffee. My list is growing of Vermont goods. So hopefully my luggage makes it through the TSA. Okay, so great question here for Damian and others. What does the future of USD look like from here? Zia always has these great kind of like.
It's good. It's good. It's like 4 minutes from the end of that. It's perfect. Kind of a closing quick questions. There'll be some answers on Tuesday in Jensen's keynote. There's the things that we're talking about, roadmaps, both past contribution, but also future contribution announcement. What you can expect, without really being an announcement, is now you've got 5 big tech company all saying they're going to make an alliance around an open format and architecture. You already have tens of companies that have said that they will be part of the alliance, right? It's not just this company trying to drive it. They're just trying to organize a forum for everybody to be part of that. It's going to be an acceleration of USD adoption and standardization throughout the industry, right? It's clear when you see these forces that this will just accelerate, and everybody that wasn't sure before, they're sure. They know that they have to increase their roadmap. So you'll see more and more applications supporting USD natively in and out, and then having the format there. There will be a lot more people that are knowledgeable about USD, so they use it as their first reflex for their apps or their formats. So the ecosystem will also grow. And then there's a connections with also a lot of generative AI, right? It's kind of probably some topics that we could have over time. Maybe we should have a generative AI and Omniverse fire chat at some point over the coming months. But generative AI is moving from these 2D, you can make for text, to you can also make images, to you can make movie, to you can make 3D things, right? We've seen the 3D announcements. There will be a lot of things around 3D video, spatial type of things. And so USD will also be a key contributor to that generative AI, generation of assets and ground truth for training. And so that's also going to be a very big momentum there. Oh, Edmar, you're on mute. You're on mute.
I was doing ventriloquism that was not working. It was intentional. Definitely was not intentional. All right, so that is I agree with you. That is a great way to wrap up this compelling hour with our guests and our viewers, asking some great questions. Thank you so much, Damian, for joining us, and Jennifer and Maddie, and of course Wendy. I think everyone's going to be in for some big treats next week during Seagraph. So please check out nvidia.com/Seagraph. That's SIGGRAPH, and you can find out all the details of how NVIDIA will be showing stuff off next week. But even if you're not there, you can watch the keynote. So head to that page, and you'll get full information and a little easy way to add it to your calendar. I want to give also a great thank you to Greer and Amelia and Vincent from our team for helping put together some materials for today and sharing the links in the chat. We are taking a break next week because we are at Seagraph. However, we're trying to do some things. One of them is Wendy's going to be doing a watch party, as we mentioned earlier. So come to our Discord for that. Vince and I will be roving the expo floor. We're gonna see what the bandwidth looks like. If we can live stream from the floor, we will do it. Otherwise, what we'll do is we will record some clips, and we'll talk to people. If you have any great questions that you want us to talk to people about while we're there, go ahead and send me a note. Say, hey, ask this person that. We're gonna have the whole team there. Not the whole team, but the event team will be there. We're gonna have Damian's gonna be there. So feel free to post your questions, but definitely you can stay active with us throughout the week on Discord. and we look forward to you seeing you on the next live stream after that. So thank you very much for coming, everybody. It's been a great hour, and yeah, we'll see you soon. But I'll see you at the keynote next week.
Yep. See you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Great question from everybody. That's so super great.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.